Talking Horses. Andy Serling in the clubhouse studio, and a happy Gotham Day to everybody. The Big A, Anthony Stabile, is to my left. He'll be joining me to talk about today's 10-race extravaganza. Actually, it is really a terrific card. Over 9 horses a race throughout the day. Nice fields, interesting stakes throughout the day, and a lot of good stuff happening here. The best way for you to participate today and any day is through NYRA Bets. We'll match up to a $200 deposit bonus. Use the promo code, you know it, Big A. We've got a couple of things to offer. Let's see if I can figure them out. If you bet at least $30 each on the Gotham, San Felipe, and Tampa Bay Derby, all races that we will be showing on our America's Day at the Races. $10 bonus for that. And also, we've got something tied to the Derby Oaks and the Oaks Derby double future wagers. 10 times points on any of those bets all throughout the weekend. They close sometime tomorrow afternoon. Keep in mind, the clocks go forward tomorrow, too, right?
Spring forward tomorrow. They usually close around 6 p.m. Eastern time.
Something like that, okay, which is the current 5 p.m., but it'll become 6 p.m. tomorrow. Also, an excellent cross-country pick 5 sequence. Tampa Bay, race number 10, the Florida Oaks, then our Busher. Tampa Bay Derby, race number 11, the Gotham here, as well as the Honeybee. All stakes, 4 of them graded. The Busher is a graded field when you consider Lake Avenue is, at this point, one of the favorites, I imagine, for the Kentucky Oaks, making her 3-year-old debut along with Median. That's 4:55. It ends a little after 6. A bunch of those races, the last 3, will be on America's Day at the Races, and there it is.
Boom.
It features the Gotham, Tampa Bay Derby, San Felipe, some other races as well, including the Honeybee. Also, that's 5:37 on FS2. I will be here. I'll be in the paddock.
Nice.
Maggie wasn't able to make it out today.
Beautiful.
But I think Jonathan, Greg, and Gary are out in California.
The great race place.
I felt bad. You know, Greg usually covers the Laker games out there, and big game last night with the Greek Freak out there with Milwaukee, but Greg was not there. I felt bad.
I'm an NBA guy.
I live vicariously through Greg, who's got like the greatest gig out there going on with Laker games and Clipper games.
Sure.
Anyhow, how you doing?
I'm great. I'm ready to roll. I'm very excited. Big weekend coming up here. We have nice big fields today and tomorrow. I think we have 84 horses in tomorrow as well. So a little cold today, but
not that bad, though.
No, it's not that bad. A little cold. Colder than usual. I think we got spoiled from all the weather we've had. It wouldn't feel cold
if it hadn't been that it's been so warm recently. It's actually in the mid to high 40s. Exactly. The sun is shining. I know the track is listed as muddy. It's not going to be muddy. And my guess is it's probably already good. I was looking at it before, and it looked good. Didn't you? You probably looked at it, right?
Yeah, you worry about wet tracks too much.
Well, I don't like it if we're not labeling the track.
No.
Especially if we're labeling it worse than it is.
I think what happened yesterday was I think the rain was supposed to come, then the forecast changed to it not coming, and then it came, and I think it hung around a little longer than anybody expected it to. Certainly longer than I expected it to.
Didn't rain that much in the city.
Didn't rain that much. It was just, it's weird, and you know, if it gets a little cooler, sometimes we have trouble getting out of there, but there's some wind here today. I think we'll be fine, especially by the time
I will bet it's good already by now, and
yeah.
I am sure it'll be fast at some point today.
Agreed.
Expect to see that upgraded. Race number 1, you know, race number 1 really changed for me when Striking Speed came out, because while I think that Continuation and Cousin Andrew are the horses to beat, I wanted to take one of the alternatives. Now, my horse was Striking Speed, but I changed my picks when he came out. With him coming out, don't you think that Kendrick is supposed to just put Continuation on the lead?
You know, when you and I were talking about this on the way in today, and you were telling me about how, you know, the race was dramatically affected with the scratch, and it obviously was, because this horse was the controlling speed.
The 4 was. Yeah.
Yes, no question about it.
I guess Linda had to scratch somebody today, right?
Yeah, so it's her birthday today. It's Linda's birthday.
It's Linda's birthday?
Yeah,
That's nice.
Happy birthday, Linda.
Really?
Yeah.
You know what tomorrow is?
Tomorrow? No.
It's the anniversary of the Ollie Frazier fight.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I would imagine that Kendrick is going to be very aggressive with Continuation here and just try and put who I think could very well be the best horse in this race just on the front end and just try to keep going today.
I think that the fuzzies in here on the outside all are a bit interesting in here, so I wanted to pick one of them, but I don't disagree with you. Continuation ran very well in the main race. Not as well last time, but not really badly. I didn't get the cleanest of trips. I'm not knocking Dylan. I just thought not the easiest trips, and now Kendrick just put her on the lead. What do you do with Cousin Andrew? You've got him second. I've got him third. I will say that the third place finisher came back and improved the Beyer figure 1 point to win, which backs the figure up. And of course, we saw the also ran the Papa horses on the outside come back in very good circumstances, but improve his figure 21 points. So this race seems legit. Now, I do think the rail was a good place to be. I don't think it was some sort of gold rail, but I think it was the best place to be on the racetrack, and that may have helped Cousin Andrew. But there's no denying this horse put in a significant run.
He ran, and when you and I will go at it every now and then. There was a bias. The rail was
every now and then?
Imagine that.
I know,
the rail
that's
was
just
good.
so wrong.
The rail was a good place to be.
You get such a bad rap. I tell you, it's just not fair.
I know. It's all me. The rail was good. This horse was still making his debut, and he was still closing along the inside and passing horses along the inside. That always impresses me.
Horses did close up the rail, though. It was an interesting rail. It wasn't a rail that was helping speed as much as there were actually a number of horses. Don't forget, that was that long shot that I kept picking for Rene Persaud won the race, closing from last up the rail.
I'm not arguing that point. What I'm saying is when a horse is making his or her debut, it's still impressive to me when they are able to do that, whether they're being aided by the track bias or not. So I thought this horse ran well first time out, and the fact that he's drawn inside again with a little bit more real estate today, going from the 6 furlongs to the mile, I think that'll help his cause. I thought they were the two. I can understand.
I can't believe he's favored over the 2. I think the 2's supposed to be favored here.
And I think when all's said and done, the 2 will be favored over him. You mentioned the 2 outside horses. You'll
I think all 3 of them are actually interesting. Even
Okay.
Semper Fi we'll look at here. You know, one of the things about Semper Fi is, you know, Johnny's riding him up the rail, also speeding horses coming up the rail, and he gets a good trip in here. I'm not in any way suggesting he didn't. But I felt like this horse was sort of spinning his wheels behind horses, and once Johnny is able to get him to the outside and get him out in the clear, he finally gets his legs under him and he starts doing running. And the problem is it was a slow race. So I worry if it's just a horse that broke a little slowly. But these are the kind of Todd Pletcher horses that have a way of improving a lot in their second starts, and I wouldn't discount this horse. And I'll tell you something else. I bet you he has a lot more speed today.
They always seem to have more speed, right? And he's going from a course that is known for being a little deeper than most, coming here. Now, I don't know what the moisture in the track does to the surface today. We'll see. I was of the belief that you wanted to be forwardly placed yesterday. I thought we saw a lot of good things happen on the front end.
I don't agree. I think it was a very fair track. I mean, think about that horse I liked in the second race yesterday who closed from dead last. In there, I mean, there were a number of horses making significant. Look at the last winner came from way back. The second horse was best.
Romero stole the first race on the front end.
Yeah, but horses won closing.
They did. I prefer.
What about the 7th winner? The 7th winner came from behind.
The 7th winner had a dream setup.
I understand,
Andy.
but I'm just
Chateau
saying.
got in front of those horses and kept on going.
But Chateau's horse has a lot of ability. It's just distance has been a question for him.
I mean, the only horse that closed in that 5th race when they most got out of the maiden ranks, those are the 3 horses that were 1, 2, 3 wins.
The second horse closed.
4.
No,
he did, but they ran 1, 3, 4. One horse was 90 to 1. Okay, whatever the case is,
no evidence. Track.
Okay. Will Sing for Wine was a big tip last time at Gulfstream. They bought that horse. After.
The horse was terrible last time.
He was terrible last time.
But it may have been a very good race.
Mile and an eighth.
It may have been a very good race.
2 of those horses, Spa City and Unrighteous, are both running in the Tampa Bay Derby later on today. One for Kira and one for Todd Pletcher.
As far as I like Spa City, actually.
Okay.
Who'd you pick in there?
I picked Market Analysis.
Okay. Despite the Todd Pletcher bad numbers off maiden wins and dirt routes. Great.
I did throw Spa
I like
City
Bold Victory in here. And, you know, I was going to either pick the 4 or 6. So I put this horse lower, but then when they scratched the 4, I moved him up. Mark has actually very good numbers going synthetic to dirt with maidens, and overall he has good numbers as well. This horse is actually bred for dirt. This horse's dirt pedigree is fine.
Sure.
And, you know, these Cassie horses, these maidens especially, they've been running, especially here. And it just feels like these horses have been well met overall. And if this horse is as good, if not better, on dirt than synthetic, with routine improvement, could easily win this race in a price. So I thought I'd take a shot with him.
He's gone 5.5 months.
But they're coming back and winning. We're seeing these horses they've been very live for the Cassie barn.
This is a great way to start.
This is an excellent race.
Card.
No, it's an excellent race. You know, other than the 3, who seems a little, you know, like a long shot, everybody else in here has a chance. Not to say the inside two aren't the ones to beat, but I think the others have a real chance in here. Race number 2, I don't know how deep this one is. You've got the number 1 as we go to race number 2. You've got the 1, Love and Love on top, and here's Love and Love winning last time, and she's the horse to beat.
Would you say I was the president of the Mike Maselli fan club? Yeah, I mean, she just
I should have made another tea before I came up.
She sits. Oh, I'm sorry.
Dumb move by
Johnny I has me hydrated. Love and Love just sat off. It's a little calorie-free sports drink. Just sat off the pace and
Sportsman that you are.
Very athletic. Just aired last time. You know, from the rail draw, Dylan Davis. I can't imagine this horse isn't going to get a similar setup. You have Questec, Diamond and Simon, some other speed in here. So it's just supposed to get a good setup again. Only horse I would want against her. She's a huge, huge favorite on the morning line. The only horse I would want against her to even think about using is the horse is the filly.
Yeah, I mean, I just put Alphador on top because I thought maybe she had a little room to improve. Gets to a dry track today. I know it's listed as muddy, but it's going to be a much drier track today. She has some moisture in the track, and I've always thought this horse had some ability, and I think she could be coming around. I don't, I just didn't want to pick Love and Love at a super short price.
She's shown glimpses.
Way the 2 horses.
She's shown glimpses, Alphador, that she might be okay, and you're going to get 3 times the price in Love and Love. Like I said, I'm using both of them in the pick 5. I'll probably be rooting for Alphador because she'll be 3 times the price, but if Love and Love shows up, I think
my horse at a long shot to get in there was Fair Lassie. Well, I thought wasn't completely impossible. We'll see. The pace is supposed to be pretty quick in here. I mean, between Questec and particularly Diamond and Simon, they should be moving a little bit up here.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot more to say about this race, at least logically.
1s and 7s.
I didn't have any particularly clever ideas. Race number 3, I didn't have any particularly clever ideas in race number 3. You, on the other hand, went to a horse that I tried him last time, and he was compromised by the fact that there was no pace, but I don't know how he can win.
No pace, inside draw. He gets a bar shoe on today. That's a late announcement. No pace.
I didn't call you about the bar shoe last night?
What? No pace last time.
Well, demerit for him, huh?
Yeah. No pace, bar shoe on.
He is.
Stretches out from the 6th to the mile. Has the outside draw. I just want a little bit of a fuzzy in here. I want to take a price in here. I don't trust any of the horses that are going to be short prices. I'll use a bunch of them in the pick 4 and the pick 5. I just want to take a little swing with a horse that's going to be double digits.
Listen, I gave this horse a long look because I picked him last time. I just don't know if he's good enough even on his best race. That was my ultimate.
You might be right, but his he ran well enough at the miles. I know it was you don't have to measure by win. His only win came at the mile, and I think
52 buyer.
Yeah, I mean he ran well enough where if he can improve a little bit, I think he could be. You trust these horses?
I don't, but I do think that the winner is going to be one of Mind the Coin, Soul Fight, or Violent Delights. And I know, listen, I'm just coming up with the 3 chalks. I'm not exactly covering any brilliant ground. As far as Soul Fight, I do think Soul Fight was a bit compromised last time. Horses were really running up the rail on February 21st. The winner came up the rail, and he was paddling out in the middle of the racetrack in no man's land in that race. And I do think that played a major role in his running poorly. And I thought his prior race was good enough to win here. I don't love him. I just thought he might be the right horse here because I don't trust Violent Delights. Violent Delights just seems unreliable, doesn't he?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you the horse, and I pretty much, after I handicapped this race a couple of times, I didn't want to pick one of the favorites. I was between the 10 or the 12 on top. The Honest Town is a very interesting horse in here.
He's such a plodder.
But he's caught 4 consecutive wet tracks.
But who say he doesn't like it?
Turf. Well, look at his fast track numbers.
No, you know what? That's a very valid point.
His fast track numbers are faster.
You're right, and they were faster. They were earlier in his career, and they were going 6.
Gets Manny. He's outside. I can see a couple of these horses just getting hungry in a lane, and him coming and clunking up and getting the money at $20. So he'll be on all my tickets.
That's a fair argument. Yeah, I didn't think of that.
Great point.
I'm going to concede that was a great point.
Wow, nice.
The first great point of the show. I hope there are some other great points.
There has to be. There's 4 wonderful stakes later on. It has to be.
Yeah, you know what? That's a valid argument.
I think this one's going to be getting. If you play triples, this is the kind of horse I think you must include in the triples.
Because the horses I'm pointing out are short and they're not particularly, they're not exactly reliable or that strong.
They're 2 life claimers.
Yeah, I just didn't have a good idea. I think that is a very valid point. I wish I'd made it myself. If I had made it, it would have been a really great point. The greatest points of all time.
We have it in the top 3.
I really think race number 4 is a super, super interesting race. Now, I'm not going to deny in race 4 that the 7 Pure Wow's the horse to beat. He might have just found, or she might have just found 7 furlongs last time, a little far off the layoff, because The problem is, though, this was her day. They had her geared up off the layoff to get the job done, and it didn't work out. And it may have been the 7 furlongs. I'm going to tell you, I think the going gets tougher today. I just think there are too many interesting fuzzies in this race that at least one of them rates to show up.
Do you feel like she has to dodge a lot of landmines in here, right?
A lot of bullets flying around this way.
There's a lot of different.
And she's not that good.
Ifs.
It's not like she's that good. And she go, I know she's going to probably run a 78 or 80 buyer, and somebody better really run to beat her. No, somebody's going to be okay to beat her.
And you know what? I think the other problem with her is a little bit, and the more I look at it, the more I think maybe I should have had her a little lower. She fires her best shot first off the bench, first time out, and then she kind of regresses a little bit. Now, she has dynamics from last time to today kind of in her favor, right? She comes back from the break. It was a November to February layoff, so you're talking about 3 months. She went 7, now she's going 6.
She's not the speed today. She controlled
She's not the
last
speed
time.
today. That's her other issue. With all that said, if she shows up, she's going to be right there.
She's the horse to
we've got a lot of
beat
horses on the
because
come
all
here.
the others are on the come. But you've got a lot of horses on the come that might be okay. And
No
if they
question about
are,
it.
they're going to beat her, and any number of them can be. I knew you couldn't resist, please.
Well, I mean, this was the 2 to 5 of the day. If you could find an offshore or somebody that's willing to take that action, that I was going to take play. There was a little buzz on her up in Saratoga. Now she gets the Lasix.
How much buzz was there? 11 to
There was
1.
a little buzz on her.
How much did it cost you?
No, not a lot. With the late great praise, right?
No, Preach is the one who died.
Oh, preach it. So praise is still around.
I don't know. Preach is the dam of pulpit. Do you know that Preach broker made at Saratoga and paid $10? And I think I tweeted this, I believe that Jan Rushton was her exercise rider.
She was.
Yeah.
Jan got on all those horses back
And she
there.
lost the spinaway at a short price, but I think she come back and win like a big race, like the Frizetters or Keeneland.
She won something.
Yeah, she was a good horse.
She was a nice horse.
She was very impressive. Her
So yeah, I took a shot with the daughter of
I've got
praise.
her in there. You know, that was a weird race. I mean, Secondary Market, who came back to win, may have run the best race that day. The second place finisher that don't remember was a 4 to 5 hot OXO firster. They never win. Did come back at Del Mar though and win 2 starts later, I guess, in the fall meet at Del Mar.
The Chatlos,
Right.
Chatlos fillet from the
trained
outside,
her.
right?
I think Brassey's a firster. There apparently must be some sort of story on. We'll see if she's a runner for Tommy Albertrani. I didn't put her in. I'm more interested in the 2 horses down the inside. Ghosting Kim. Ghosting Kim looks to me like a prepperoni last time out, and there really seems like some intention with this horse. And it's like, I don't want to run down in Florida and face, you know, Todd's always got one in there, whatever, because this is all a dirt pedigree. This is not a turf pedigree. The Dam Palanca City was a solid dirt sprinter. She ran Buyers in the 90s. She won almost $400,000. There's 2 foals that are dirt runners in there. You watch her race. She broke a couple like slow in there. She was running at the end. A big gallop out. She's got all the look for this trainer of being a horse that's going to run a lot better today. And Our Secret Age is another one of these Cassie horses. And you know, she was stayed out at the start and sort of lost all chance. And I didn't feel like she was overly abused in that race afterwards. She ran okay in there, and these Cassie horses just seemed to come back and run, and I thought her debut was good enough. So I'm going to focus 2 inside, but I'm going to use your 9 as well.
Okay.
You know, we're going to try to beat Pure Val.
Yeah, I think you owe it to yourself in this race to try to beat her, but you protectively must use her in more places.
But once again, I picked her last time. Race number 4. Today you have the scratch into horses. You scratched into... in race number 5, excuse me, I think you scratched into the 9, right? You like the 2 in there.
I scratched into the 5.
The 5?
To Morgantown.
You got to stop.
Well,
You got to stop.
got to stop. I ran into a buzzsaw last time.
Well, we'll discuss. But Morgantown didn't even run the 2nd best race, or the 3rd best, or the 4th best race. So that's the problem with her.
Well, yeah, I mean...
Well, we'll get to that. Okay. Quick flash. I don't like landing on favorites. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm always honest with you, but I just think this horse is better in this field. I think she's run better than this horse every single time she's run.
He probably is.
You know, he chased a fast pace last time. He took over. He buried the field.
Yeah.
The time before that, he had a crazy trip, and he still ran a good figure. I think this horse is okay.
Could very well be just...
I'm not saying he's going to be a New York Red Stakes winner. He's got to get a lot
you.
faster than that. But I just think he may just be better than these horses. Kimmel's got decent numbers. He's 4 for 14 off maiden wins and dirt sprints with big ROI. 7 hitting the boards. They come back and usually run to their races. I just thought the horse was super logical, and I was going to try to beat him here. Tear Gun was the horse I thought was the most dangerous.
That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to try to take a little shot at him against Tiergan. I'll scratch into Morgantown, but I mean, Quick Flash is obviously the horse.
Well, we'll show you the replay of the Morgantown, and I want everybody to focus on the number 7 in this race, who was 1029, who's the 4 today, because 1029 was the horse who was probably going to win this race and Manny just was dealt a tough hand. I don't think this was Manny's fault at all. He never really could get through, and it's just hard. And there was one split-second decision he might have been able to make that, like right here, if he had somehow gotten out, but it's easy for you to say there. That horse you're going to see is running over horse at the end, and I think that Freudian Slip ran well in here. Don't you think Morgantown is the one horse that had the absolute perfect trip in there to get second, or just sat in the rail, did no running?
He was that little maneuver inside when it looked like the Bug Boy was going to go in, and then he was forced to go back out.
He's going to be back next week, Cardinus.
Yeah, good. Sure.
Yeah, I don't see it, Anthony. I know you've liked this horse in the past, but I think last time was the time for him. It was the time that everything worked out perfectly, because not only did he get the absolute perfect trip, but others had significantly tougher trips in there. You're not a little interested in Centrist getting a jockey and trainer change and getting your man Romero Mirage taking over for Eamon Archie? This horse, let me ask you a question. This horse is race 2 back, puts this horse right in the mix. I know it's a sloppy sealed track, but the horse has run fast figures on dry tracks before, and now so this is a big rider upgrade.
Yeah, the Vickers Legend race isn't bad either. I guess he can get. I
thought this was a very interesting long shot in here. Some changes. The other horse who's a change in here is Rudy claiming Leap to Glory. Are you so sure Leap to Glory is not? The problem with Leap to Glory is he's got to chase Cool Boy.
Yeah, he's in an almost impossible spot today. I think that's my biggest problem with him.
Yeah, but I still think you're supposed to at least notice him in this race, you know, because
he is a horse. His
race 3 back makes him a major player in this race, and he was just chasing wide against a biased 2 back and had a rider that's just not going to win races last time out.
Yeah, I mean he can win. Again, he's in a very tough spot today.
He is. He's a little interesting, but I agree. It was too tough a spot for me to take him. We'll see what happens in race number 5. Race number 6 kicks off the late pick 5, the first time in quite a while that we haven't had overlapping pick 5s.
Yeah, right? Excited about that.
Are you excited?
Yeah.
How excited would you say you are on a scale of like 1 to 10?
6.8.
6.8? You're way more than a 6.8 in Gotham Day.
Well,
your general excitement.
The all-stakes pick 4 gets to like a 9.9.
Okay, just checking. I don't have a lot to say in this race. You and I picked the same horse. Talk about the number 8, Chasing Losses.
Yeah, not much to say, right? This dropping down. We saw the drop downs yesterday. Run 1-2 in the finale. In a very similar.
1-2-3 actually.
1-2.
Well, Gargan's horse was dropping. Just
he was dropping back in, right? I think he was in for a tag earlier. Yeah, you know, I just wanted.
He's dropping from a 40 to a 25.
Okay, I just wanted a dropper in here. Horse showed some speed first time out. Drops.
Well, chase the winner. It's not going to just show some speed. Chase the winner. I think it's hardest when you have to chase the winner in those spots. I just thought this horse was logical. I don't have a big problem with A. Doro, the other Brad Cox horse, who didn't really finish, but did make a bit of a middle move and could improve second off a layoff. And then there's Kitten Heels for Ray Handel, who did get bet a little bit. And I don't know if that race moved up with the fact that Hot Little Honey got that perfect trip win, but Hot Little Honey did improve her figure 10 points to win next time out. And I just didn't see a whole lot going on here, unless you want to take Heeman Harkey and Mountain Maid with a first-time starter for the hot Jimmy Ferraro barn.
You know, we talked about how Chasing Losses chased the pace last time. The other horse that I think is a little interesting here, you have a 4th, I have a 3rd, is the 3 Queen Kimberly, who drops for Rob Actress from the 1 try against the special weight company into the tag. Blinkers go on and Kendrick goes on. I know she was terrible, but with the drop and the blinkers.
Yeah, no, I put her 3rd.
We'll see.
I didn't really see anywhere else to go. Did you?
No.
Paynite must not be particularly good, the 6th, because that's a nice turf pedigree, and Dave Donk's offering for a 1/4. And, of course, Chrysolite. Is Chrysolite a half to Hessenite? Because Hessenite's son, Jewelstone, I think it's a colt.
Yeah.
Just broke his maiden. 1 race too late for me down at Gulfstream. A lot of those maiden
You bet him last time at 14 to 1 today. He won at 480.
Our worst one yesterday, take 10 at 8 to 5.
8 to 5. Yeah, 5-6.
Yeah, I didn't have much else to say. Jeremiah, the outside horse, Luis Saez, of course, is here to ride in our Gotham. Luis Saez,
Attachment rate
who
for
will
Del
have
Roberts.
a new jockey agent. Is that at Keeneland it starts or here?
I believe it starts
in
April 1.
All right.
I believe it starts
wish
April
them
1.
well.
Yeah.
sure we'll see more.
I think
of Kieran.
Kieran's last runner might be Ajaweed in the
What's Kieran going to do
Louisiana
if
Derby.
Spa City ends up one of the favorites in the Kentucky Derby?
That'd be funny, right? Or Ajaweed. I mean, who's to say Ajaweed can't improve second time going the mile in 3/16 in Louisiana?
Right. Ajaweed has about as much chance to win the Derby as you and I in a horse.
I'm just saying.
On the other hand, Spa City might be okay.
Yeah.
I guess you got to leave sometime, right?
Who won the lunch bet yesterday?
You did. Not even close. Yours ran second.
I couldn't remember.
Yours ran second. It was
the
the 5 and the. It was the horse 5 and 6. No, your horse ran well actually. You buried me. I don't know.
Oh, that was that Hardcore Folk Club?
Yeah, your horse beat me. No, it was the horse I bet last time. Vorticity.
Oh, okay.
Race number 7 begins the stakes action, our all stakes late pick 4, and it's the Stymede mile. I thought this was a really, really interesting race, and I disagree quite a bit with you in this race.
Yeah, we're both in different places.
Yeah. I mean, Wicked Trick, I don't disagree with you. We'll look at Wicked Trick's last race. If he runs his last race, there's a good chance they're all running for second. I don't know, man. This is a horse at a reasonably short price that is facing significantly
exponentially tough
better horses than he's ever faced.
No question.
But he's in
about
great form. I can't knock that.
He has gotten better and better with every dirt start. Fantastic claim for Linda. He's won from 6 to a mile. Last time out, he really strutted his stuff going the mile, and that was, to me, the one-turn mile was what
you
he was
didn't like him because you didn't
to
think
do.
he'd get a mile, right? We had this discussion.
I didn't.
No,
Did I
you
pick
did not
Mikey
pick
T?
him. You did not pick him,
I think
and
I
you were
picked
worried
Mikey T.
about
I
getting
put
a
him
mile.
second, and he completely proved me wrong. He is the goods right now. He's in form, and quite frankly, if he shows up with that last effort, I don't think they could beat him today.
He's the horse to beat if he shows up with that effort. There's no doubt about it. I don't love he was supposed to run the General George, and there was some sort of colic scare, but I guess he's fine.
He had a little stomach issue. Yeah. They actually shipped him down there.
Yeah.
He was down.
That doesn't thrill me, but he's in great form, and he can definitely win this race. I have absolutely no argument with that. I like Diamond King, this horse. We'll look at Diamond King finishing second behind Coal Front at Parks, 2 starts back. I know it appears he didn't run that well, and I did like him last time. But the other day he was chasing 3-4 wide around the racetrack, and that was a gold rail that day at Belmont Park. So he was compromised, and it was a tough field. And let me ask you a question. Isn't Kendrick just supposed to put the number 6 Diamond King on the lead today and play Come and Catch Me?
He is. He absolutely is. I would be surprised if Jovia or American Anthem didn't put some pressure on this horse.
I don't think American Anthem has that much speed anymore, because Manny couldn't make the lead last time because American Anthem just didn't have the speed. You and I disagreed very much about American Anthem's last race. You felt he was very unlucky. I just felt he wasn't good enough to get to the spot ahead of other horses.
Okay.
And I don't think he's nearly the same horse he was. And with all due respect to Danny Gargan, who obviously does a sensational job, wins the high percentage, this is a Bob Baffert horse. I don't think any trainer out there is dying to get horses from Bob Baffert and say, let's see if I can improve this one.
I understand that, but you also, if
he kind of passed his expiration date a little bit.
But if we're going to talk about Wicked Trick facing much better today.
Well, he's one of them, potentially one of them.
But hasn't American Anthem just kept better company than the rest of these horses? I feel like he has.
No, not 2 races back, he hasn't.
Okay, but overall,
but here's the problem, Anthony.
Flagstaff's going to be one of the favorites in the San Carlos, if not the favorite today.
Anthony,
Catalina Cruiser.
Anthony, I don't think he's that horse anymore. That's my problem.
Fair enough.
That's my problem.
I thought his last effort showed me that there's enough of him left.
Okay. Listen, a lot of people I know I respect agree with you, so I'm just a little dubious of this horse overall. I'll tell you another horse I'm dubious of, and I see you have the same opinion as me, and that's Jovia. And this is Jovia's win, and he ran fine in this race. It was off a layoff. He got a very good trip and ride by Junior. My problem with this horse is then after getting him back to the races 7 months, plus months, they ship him down to that crazy tough Razorback down at Oaklawn. He gets his head handed to him chasing a pace which held together. And now they're back here 3 weeks later, and he's running into a very tough field. I just feel like he's the wrong horse today.
I agree. Coming back off a pretty quick turnaround, right? The 3 weeks after missing all that time to now run 3 times in 7 weeks 3 times in 7 weeks, almost 8 weeks. Like you said, it's not like he went down to Oaklawn and just didn't show up.
He chased the pace.
He ran for 5/8 of a mile, 3/4 of a mile, and he was donezo.
Yep.
It's so hard for those horses to bounce back. You know, add the travel in, and he got to bounce back from the tough effort. And listen, he tripped out when he came off the layoff, but he still did some running.
No, he's a good horse. I like Joe Villa's horse. I'm not trying to knock his horse. I just think this is a tough
spot.
This race came up pretty strong. I mean, there is real talent in here. Listen, I'll put it this way. Backside of the Moon is no bum, and he's in way tough here.
He's nearly impossible today, and he's no slouch.
Yeah,
I agree.
I mean, and even Lone Rock has improved, and he's in way tough. Stan the Man, we'll take a look at Stan the Man's win-2 back. I just don't think that Stan the Man handled the track last time, and he tired chasing the ridiculously sharp Mr. Buff. But I'm going to argue that 1-turn mile is a better distance for Stan the Man than his 1 1/8 races. He chased the pace off the layoff in this race, and he held together. I thought this was a solid enough effort, and I know that the horse who probably would have won this race lost his right at the start. But he still ran a 93 Beyer, and this horse, I mean, he's the one horse that has the figs that can beat Wicked Trick if Wicked Trick runs his last race.
Save the Queens County, though. Don't you feel he's just a little bit better when he can control?
I don't know about that.
I think he's a little bit better when he can control, and there's no way he's controlling in here.
No, he's not the speedier. No, he's not. Okay, fair enough.
I think
he's going to run very well.
A peg or two.
I'm going to box 1-6 in here.
Okay.
They're my 2. They're my 2, baby. But this is a good race.
And I like 2, 4, 5.
Who won this race last year?
This would be the seasonal debut of your older horse Eclipse and Breeders' Cup Classic winner Vino Rosso.
Who says big horses don't run at the Big A? Correct.
I had a good Gotham day. I loved him last year. I think you laughed at me when I liked him last year.
Oh, for sure. Well, Anthony, I laugh at you all the time. So
you do.
We already know the 6th at Gulfstream. Your bet's in. The late Big 5 is starting any minute.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I got to figure the clock's going to tomorrow. We'll have a 2:30 post, right? Change post time. So we're running the exact same time. I'm kidding. 1:30. As far as I know. I won't be here tomorrow.
It's 1:30.
Okay.
I'll be here tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll be there. David will be here.
You switch the chairs?
Oh, God.
Race number 8,
Knew that
the
was
Tom
coming, too.
Fool. Who's your favorite Tom Fool?
Go Sapper.
Yeah.
You didn't even have to get that. That's like Family
Feud. It was
Feud
so
hitting it right
hot
away.
that I left right away. It was really hot that
was
day.
4th of July. I think that was when we went on 4th of July.
Yeah.
On 4th of July.
Yeah.
That's when he ran like a 1:18, the Tom Fool, and then he went to the Monmouth race and ran a 1:30.
Did he beat that horse of Fox Ridge Farm that Pat Kelly had that I loved?
I don't remember. They were.
I think he was in there.
Yeah.
I love that. I really like that horse. I don't think the horse ever won it. I don't know, won a great stake. Maybe it won the Westchester. It's a really good horse of Pat Kelly's.
I think he won the Westchester.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly who you're talking about.
It's a good horse.
I see the purple and white.
Is there a P in his name?
Yeah. I see the purple
Somebody's
and white.
got to text me that horse's name. My man Steve will text me that horse's name. I love that horse of Pat's. Anyhow, we digress. You know, I struggled with this race because there is no doubt that Mind Control's the horse to beat. But, and we'll look at winning last time, wouldn't you agree he won this race under optimal circumstances? You think American Anthem should have beaten him? I think we both agree that he just ran a better race than he did. Now, it was also off a layoff, but he got away with an extremely moderate pace, and it's a totally different pace scenario for him today. But he's a horse who can rate. I just feel like he's not going to be 7-5. He's going to be 4-5. And I also think he was running a tougher race last time. He is one game son of a gun. He really is.
And he
fights the wire.
What doesn't bother me about the last race,
I'm not bothered by it. I'm just saying.
In regards to the dynamics today, what doesn't bother me is the fact that he is so versatile. He wins the hopeful on the front end. He's attending the pace last time, and it's kind of moderate on the day.
Finally stopped betting Mucho?
I'm sorry?
If you finally stopped betting Mucho.
Yeah, when he won. That's when I stopped betting him with Churchill. You know, he's come from a few lengths off the lead like he did when he won the Allen Jerkins. So it's very rare that they're going to throw a pace dynamic at him that's going to really affect his performance.
But now he's got to go 6.
But now he has to go 6. He has the one way. He run once at 6.
But
He's
could you argue
his
style is almost more suited to 6 than 7? I would argue that a
was the point I
stalker
was
type is better at 6 than 7.
When you have that versatility, Yeah, because more often than not, going 6, they hit a little quicker up front.
Clearly going to hit more here.
They just set your kick up.
I'm not against him in any way. I didn't want to pick him on top at a super short price because I don't see him 7-5 and Happy Farm 5-2. I could be dead wrong. David's usually right on in these lines. I feel like Mind Control's a horse they just love. He has all those wins.
I went into this under the assumption that I was taking a horse that was going to be a prohibitive favorite today. I think he's going to be 4-5.
Yeah, I do too. And by the way, I'm not saying that I think that's a crazy short price.
No.
But one thing you have to admit about him, he's never run a particularly fast race. So he is vulnerable to a horse running a fast race.
You know what he does? He almost, and this is in no way a knock on this horse.
Well, you can't knock him. He's a really nice horse.
He plays to his competition. He does enough to get the job done.
I don't buy that stuff. See, I don't believe that.
Let me ask you a question.
Because he loses races.
Do you think he really has to come with his top effort today?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I do think it. Because listen, we'll look at Happy Farm being Wonderful Light. Is Happy Farm 2 back in the fall high weight? And I know Happy Farm had to run the race last time with that crazy slow first quarter, but it still ended up being a reasonably fast race. I mean, you can't argue. Happy Farm is in tremendous form. I don't know where it came from.
I loved them last time.
This was a tough beat for you. I don't know where it came from, and it obviously wasn't an A effort for NZ Fire beating them, but I mean,
this is the fall. This is him holding on
to the fall. This is the fall highway and beating Wonderful Light. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if Wonderful Light would ever get back to the promise he showed. He looked like he could be so good. He must have issues. Yeah. But I just don't know if he's really good enough. I don't want Happy Farm today, though.
You don't? Okay.
Because Wentz has got to go with him. Kendrick's going. Wentz isn't. I don't think that Wentz is here to rate.
Well, here's the other thing about.
Is that his uncle, JT Service? That's his uncle, right?
That's his. No, that's Tyler.
Son. That's his son.
Yeah, that's Tyler. It's JT, but he goes by
Son's got to go
Tyler.
against Dad here, and Son's got to go. And I don't think Hendrick's looking at this one going, I'm taking this one back.
No, this is his nephew, right? Tyler is John's son.
That's what I thought.
But don't you feel like Happy Farm can win from off the pace?
I'm quietly proud here. So,
do you feel like Happy Farm can win from off the pace?
No.
What about the race 3 back when he won for 40?
I understand. He beats See This Quick. I don't think he's beating Mind Control from behind.
You make a great point.
I think if Happy Farm is going to win a race like this, he's got to do it at the front end.
Okay.
I don't know if that was as great as your point earlier today.
Fair enough.
But
that's fair enough.
That would be my opinion.
You know, if you're going to try to beat a horse as accomplished and as talented as Mind Control, you probably want to do it in a different fashion.
You better have the run of the race.
Okay.
Okay, Skylar Scramjet. Here he is in his second place finish in the Carter. I fully admit, that I have mad love for Skylar Scramjet.
Doesn't owe me $1. Michelle Nevin told me this horse was going to win first time out. Got 41 hammers.
Michelle Nevin knew this horse. This is the one horse in this race that I think you will agree with me. If he's able to run his good race, he could easily beat Mind Control.
He's the fuzzy.
There's no question off his last 2 races, last spring and summer, that he couldn't beat a 40 claimer based on those races. But Michelle Nevin brings this horse back and runs him against the Wolves right away. It's not like I know he's got limited spots. I don't know where else he can go. I don't know if there's a money, but she's taking a shot here. And this is a horse that has won off the same kind of layoff before for Michelle. A little bit less, but still. This horse won off a 6+ month layoff. Or didn't win, I'm sorry, but ran one of his biggest figures ever when he finished second behind Recruiting Ready, who had the run of the race that day. So he has shown these capable running off layoffs. It's a bit of a stab. But he is good enough if he runs his A race.
I'll tell you what, it could be as simple as, and you start to put these pieces to the puzzle together a little bit, could she have found an easier spot? Maybe she could have went out of town. He may just love the Big A. Andy, because you look at his races. Well, you look at his races. He's 4 for 10 with 3 seconds, right?
Well, he's run twice at Belmont. Run well at Belmont.
Yeah. I'm not saying he hasn't, but this is a horse who does a lot of good things here in South Ozone Park. You look at his 2 4th-place finishes on his card. One's behind Army Mule. The other one was last year in this race when he got involved in that impossible pace early on.
Oh,
that completely incinerated.
Actually, right? Super in here.
So those are his 2.
He almost finished second.
And then one of the other Aqueduct races, I think, was when Michelle they turned him over to somebody else early in his career. So, yeah, I mean, he's the fuzzy in here. I don't like him off those last 2 races.
We do have to move
break,
along.
But
race number 9, the Busher. Not to knock the others, but if there is a two-horse race in this sequence, this is the one. And we'll look at Lake Avenue beating Median. And I'm not knocking Lake Avenue. I think she's very good, and she's the horse to beat in here. And she ran fine in here, but she also was a lot of control at an extraordinarily slow pace. I know she's a little wide the first turn, but she really had everything go her own way after that. And I don't think Median did. Behind horses, taking kickback. This was a day of kickback and a time of kickback where it was an issue here. And Median never stopped running. And I'm going to tell you something. Median is at least as good, if not better, going a one-turn mile. Because her one-turn miles are good races. Good trips or not, she ran well in both of those races. And I think here's the reason I picked her on top. If somebody said to me, you're just supposed to pick who you think the likeliest winner is, I would pick Lake Avenue. But Median could be 3-1 in here, and Lake Avenue could be 3-5. And I don't think there's supposed to be that kind of discrepancy in their price.
I don't think there will be. I actually think Median's going to take some money in here.
Well, she is.
With your thinking that the one-turn mile is going to play more in her wheelhouse than Lake Avenue.
I don't think that's going to affect the bet.
I do. I do today. I think they're easily the two. You said a two-horse race. I think it might be. I would probably consider it a 2.5-horse race.
Who's the other horse?
I think
Water White will benefit for a cut back to a mile
too.
I'm just a little tired of her. She didn't run badly at Demoiselle.
I don't necessarily disagree. She had a wide trip at a Demoiselle. I just think the 2 mile and an eighth race is cutting back to the one-turn mile as the horse that's going to be
I wish she had beat Medea in her second start.
I'm sorry?
Isn't Persisto supposed to put some pressure on Lake Avenue, especially with blinkers on?
Blinkers on, outside
because
draw.
Let me tell you something about Lake Avenue. She has had 2 cakewalks in her last 2
Let me ask you this question. Do we think Mo City from the rail is that slow that she can't put some pressure on this horse? She's coming out of some fast races, Andy.
No, she's not going to put pressure.
Okay.
So, no, I don't think that'll happen.
I don't know, man. I would not be surprised if she was more aggressively ridden and more forwardly placed today.
Okay, I will be.
Okay.
But it won't be the only time I'll be surprised today, I'm sure of that. I'm constantly surprised.
The main event?
The big event, the Gotham.
One of my favorite races of the year.
I agree. I love the Gotham.
Easy goer.
And I'm so glad it's back to a one-turn
Easy
mile.
goer in '89, and I mean that Lore Devil is due Gotham in '92 is one of the greatest horse races I've ever seen.
I missed Gone West winning it.
It was '87.
Yeah, it was the Dead Show.
I was here. I didn't miss a Gotham for.
That was one of the few Gothams I missed. Bet Gone West though. I love Gone West. Gone West Dam was Secretom, trained by the late great Bruce Johnstone. Another reason I loved Gone West. This is a super interesting race. I want to talk about the Swale, and obviously Mischievous Alex is the worst to beat. He ran very well last time, but I think it's important for us to show the start. What's going on? The start? Oh, I see. Because the 2 is untitled, as you can see, even with their awful angles they show at Gulfstream, which is just horrendous. Got completely buffeted around and eliminated at the start. So Untitled didn't have a fair chance. And it's not just that Untitled didn't get a fair chance, it's that Untitled wasn't there to put pressure on Mischievous Alex. And I don't see with Sixto and Untitled in this race, Mischievous Alex having the same run of the race as he did last time.
It's almost impossible, right?
But he still might be pretty good this horse.
He might be. I am going to... You know, the one race at the mile in the Sapling, the race in the Laurel Futurity on the turf.
He's a better horse since then.
He's a better horse since then. The blinkers certainly have seemed to have sharpened his speed as well. But like you said, he's almost destined to have some company on the front end today, and let's see him do it. Let's see him carry the speed 8 furlongs with some pursuers.
Yeah, I agree.
He can win.
I have to use him, but his last race is it's a little dressed up. It was still a very good performance, but it's a little dressed up by circumstance, and it was circumstance that worked against Untitled. But Untitled comes back and runs a big race. Are you at all worried that Untitled is now making his 3rd start in 5 weeks at his 3rd different racetrack, and you just wonder if he's going to keep running well?
I don't like Untitled today for that reason.
I got him 5th.
Three
I
races,
can see him winning, but I'm a little dubious.
Right, the quick math is 36 days. 3 races in 36 days at 3 different racetracks. It's an awful lot of travel. Awful lot of travel.
The actual math is 35 days, because don't forget, it was only 29 days in February, even with a leap year. Right. That was a Saturday, the Swale. The Soleil. You know, I thought his name was Soleil when he first ran.
Did you really?
Who was the horse he had the big rivalry with?
I was 6.
Shuttle Jet. Fenstermacher for Hooper. Fenstermaker. What about Montauk Traffic? I think
don't
Montauk
like him
Traffic's
either.
a much bigger player in this race than you do. One thing about him is he's a bit of a rail runner. I wonder if he'll be as effective if he gets an outside trip, because he's been inside twice. This horse is going to get paced to run, Anthony, and this horse is improving.
Yeah.
And let me say something else about his last race. He got shuffled out of position. He stayed in the bridle. Who were the other horses that were closing in this
Nobody.
race? And
Pace
that's a
runs
long
one,
shot holding
Pace
on
runs
for
2,
third.
3. Yeah,
So,
big price.
who I needed for second.
Big
but
price
that's
running for
another
third.
story.
Big price.
Now, this is a much tougher field.
Much tougher
He won't
field.
have Lee Einstein to kick around today.
Stephen Rules ran a giant race last time, so there was
he didn't.
look. This horse was able to save ground the whole way, and like you said, maybe he's a rail runner.
I think this horse is going to run well today.
Okay.
He's going to be very, very much in my play. I must put him on top.
Okay.
Well, we knew you couldn't resist Warstopper. Nick Tammer and I had a bet that you would pick him on top.
Well, why wouldn't
Well,
I?
we both bet. We got 230. We found some bookmakers dumb enough to give us
Why
230.
wouldn't I? Did
Well-
you make a plea? Did you make a plea war stopper parlay today?
Aren't you a little worried that the track did help speed
Yeah.
a little that day and the continuation came back and ran 7 buyer points lower? Not to say that means this horse can't win even if he runs back to that race.
Yeah, I mean, obviously.
I'm scared of this horse. He could be a new horse.
Another
Much
horse
like
where
that
the
New York bred,
blinkers,
the Brady horse who
Another
turned
horse,
around.
not that Brady. Another horse where the blinkers really seemed to help him put it all together
Here's the
last
problem.
time.
How's he going to run rating today? Because he ain't going to be in front today.
No,
And
he's
if
not
he
going to be in
is,
front today.
Good luck to him.
Yeah.
That's the big concern with him. I'm not leaving him out. The problem is he's 5-1 morning line.
I think he has to be a little high. I think he'll wind up a little higher.
a
than that,
terrible
don't you?
gamble at
I think
5-1.
Montauk Traffic will be shorter than him.
I'm not sure. As a 93 buyer, people like races like that. I'm not sure.
I think he'll be shorter.
What
than
about
him. Maybe you're
attachment
right.
rate? What do you do with this horse who broke his maiden in a big fig? Now, let me talk about his last race while we're looking at him in the rain. The timing is completely inaccurate. Superman couldn't actually come out of the gate and go 21-1 from pretty much without a run up at Gulfstream or 44.5. So those fractions are wrong. Mike Welsh pointed out that he retimed it and came with 136.2 is the final time.
Okay.
And it's over. It's definitely over a second wrong. That's almost a sure thing. And it would be nice if Gulfstream could get this corrected, because this horse might be okay, but I don't know. I'm surprised you don't like this horse more, given that you like market analysis, the horse who beat him his maiden race at Tampa.
So I waited all day. You watch this horse's 2 replays. He's getting over that sloppy track a whole lot better than he's getting over the fast
I
ground 2
completely
starts back.
disagree with you.
Okay.
I completely disagree with you. think
I
it's
thought
ludicrous.
he really moved up on that. And I think you have to watch both replays.
I did.
And
I did.
I think if you do, I felt like he just handled that wet track a lot better than he did the fast track.
Pitches the floor.
Yeah.
I pitched him because I don't think he's good enough.
Well, I don't know if he's good enough for that. I just think the wet track really helped him.
I'm taking a shot with this horse, Necker Island. And here
This
he
horse
is,
very dangerous.
winning at Churchill Downs back in November. It's a horse that caught a lot of our attention when he was in that 3 technique race, that he was so impressive. And I can remember even being on the show that day, Saturday Live, and saying, keep an eye on that Stan Huff horse, because this horse had significant trouble in that race and never stopped running. And he appeared to be in a horse with his previous race in the dry track and this race in the wet track that was a promising horse that with an easy step forward could be fast enough to be a reasonable 3-year-old. And then he runs in that swale. He's caught out 5 or 6 wide the whole way. The race is wired, and he just never had a chance to get in the race. Stan Huff is too smart, in my opinion, to be shipping this horse up here if he thinks that last race is indicative of his ability. If you took his last race out and it was just a normal prep, you would say this horse could easily be good enough to be competitive enough that at a 12-1 morning line, he's worth taking a shot with. So I put him on top because I thought he was the best price alternative that I could come up with in this race. In a race where I feel like logicals like Mischievous Alex, Montauk Traffic, I don't think that Untitled's impossible, but I have concerns, and I do think your horse bears a little bit of a look.
Part of the late pick 4, the late pick 5, and the cross country. Necker Island's on all my tickets.
Yeah, I thought he was a little bit interesting in here at a price.
Fantastic. I love this.
Who do you like in the Tampa Bay Florida Oaks before we say goodbye? The first leg of the cross country Big 5.
The
turf race.
I went 4 deep.
Oh, okay.
I like.
There's a morning line in there of the 8 horse.
That's what I like.
8-1.
That's what I like.
There is a better chance. That horse going to be favored. Who made that horse 8-1 in the morning line.
Outburst. That's what I like. Named after us. Outburst.
The horse is going to be. Somebody told me about somebody smart I know that's single the horse in this pick 5. And they said he's 8-1. I said, no, he isn't. He's closer to 8-5.
That's who I like.
Anthony, it was a pleasure. I'll miss you tomorrow. You and David will be here tomorrow. Everybody, enjoy a wonderful Gotham day and enjoy it on Naira Bets. Head over to Naira Bets if you're not a member. We'll match up a $200 deposit bonus. Use the promo code Big A. Couple of things this weekend in Naira Bets today. Triple threat. Bet 30 or more on the Gotham, San Felipe, and Tampa Bay Derby. You'll get $10 back through Naira Bets on the app only. All those bets. Also 10 times points anywhere you bet them on Naira Bets. Derby Oaks and that Oaks Derby double future. Good luck with an Oaks Derby double future. I couldn't pick a horse to hit the board in either one of those races right now. The cross country Big 5, 2 at Tampa, 2 at Aqueduct, and Oaklawn as well. Also, that Pack Hally horse did not run against Ghost Sapper. That was another time. That was the day I left the track early in the heat with Howie Tesher. We went over to Rio Grande and sat there and hung out. It's right across from where I used to live. I miss Howie. Love Howie. America's Day at the races. Gotham, Tampa Bay Derby, San Felipe, FS2, 5:30 to 7. It's going to be a great day of racing. Everybody enjoy your Gotham Day. The man